Facebook is down. Oh my God, WhatsApp is down, Instagram is down, what's happening? You can feel that dose of adrenaline that you have in your blood because it doesn't work. And I'm sure you also can feel the dose of dopamine that you have when the Facebook was back. What actually happened with Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram? Why were they offline for almost 6 hours? And by the way, they're all, in a way, services of Facebook. Well, let me give you a quick explanation what seems to have happened. When you want to access Facebook, your computer needs to check the map of the internet to see where Facebook is actually located. And what happened is that Facebook, in a way, removed themselves from that same very map. So at some point, we were not able to find Facebook on the map of the internet, but to make things worse, they were not able to find themselves either. That means they weren't able to access their own services and servers to solve the problem. So they had to literally pick the people and fly them in to California, which took quite some hours, to manually sit down at the servers and routers and change what is known the border gateway protocol settings that messed everything up. How did that happen? There are a couple of scenarios. Or why did it happen? There are a couple of scenarios. One would be that it's a simple technical mistake. That happens. I mean, these settings are changed on a daily basis and even more often. But this was obviously quite a mistake that locked them down, sort of locked them in their own apartment without a key. So it could have been a human mistake. Second scenario would say that it was actually an insider. And that insider might have messed up with a purpose. It could be a disgruntled insider, maybe pushed by the recent whistleblower leaks on to what extent Facebook was aware that allowing hate speech, bullying, and all of that on the network was actually an effect to cause people to use and share more, thereby bringing the revenue. Which is, by the way, not something that is of our primary concern. Our primary concern was why it doesn't work. The third scenario could be that it is a cyber attack. It could happen. That would mean that someone actually broke into the probably quite secure digital premises of Facebook and managed to introduce this protocol change and remove Facebook from the map from within. That would be quite a breach. Let's stay tuned. Let's see whether something like that actually happened. The fourth scenario could be that it was, and that is a bit of conspiracy theory, and I watch that, that Facebook did it on purpose, on their own. Because on one hand, the news that there is 1.5 billion private personal data of users, or of 1.5 billion users of Facebook leaked to the criminal market, and B, whistleblower who has leaked some of the internal documents, and they might be actually closing down the service to see where these different leaks are. I'm not that supporting this fourth scenario, but we will have to see what's happening. What were the effects? Well, apart from our adrenaline shot, there were some losses. Apparently the value of Facebook went down for about 5% again in the last hours. There was an estimation that the total costs on a global level of this shutdown of the services was about a bit less than $1 billion, which is quite significant. That doesn't mean only the loss of Facebook, but also the loss of various economies around the world whose businesses are in a way connected to any of those services. WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. And then back to these two linked stories. One is the leak about the data, the other one is the whistleblower question. The leak about the data is something that should be checked. 1.5 billion personal data or users is quite an amount. It's almost half of the whole database of users, of active users in Facebook at the moment. So it'll be a huge bit, but then again, I mean, it could be a fraud. And I mean, criminals are not really the most ethical personnel around, so they might be playing with some old data, they might be actually scraping data from the net. I mean, pieces of ourselves are all over the net, so it's not that hard to pick up these pieces by skilled professionals. And certainly it could be some part of the leak. On the other hand, to be honest, what I think we should be worried much more than the fact that we didn't have Facebook for 6 hours is the whistleblower and the revelations to what extent Facebook was actually consciously pushing or allowing hate speech content and violence in order to raise their profits. Think about it next time when Facebook goes down.